Thanks for coming in once again. My name is Brian Burke, Executive Director of the Center for Family Business, and we are interviewing mayoral candidates right up until the municipal election. And our candidate today is Milos Posalvjak. And Milos, you are running for mayor of the city of Kitchener. Look, I have to ask, what's the deal with the mask?
Well, thank you for the question. It's just the quickest way for pretty much anybody to communicate that it's Renaissance 2.0. It's either that, or I typically have a really bad sinus infection, in October with the bad weather. So it's one of those two.
Right, you're free to do what you wish to do. That works for me. So why are you running for mayor?
Well, I'd like to see a city with zero vehicular accidents. We still might get some pedestrians that walk into each other. Hopefully see a city with minimal tax increases, if not zero, the traditional property tax increases, and hopefully see a city with zero stress, right? Because how I see sort of the big global picture is I see Canada, Ontario, Waterloo region as the pinnacle of the civilization. And I think all the numbers and data show that, if you look at the comprehensive picture, but I think there's just a bit too much stress. So I think we need to work on that.
Yeah, a little less stress is always a helpful thing. I notice on your website that you talk a lot about Berlin. Explain that to me.
Oh, rebranding is very important. So I don't think, it's marketing 0001. You got Cambridge, you got Waterloo, you got to have Berlin in there. The end.
So is this a reaction in any way to, the dark side of Lord Kitchener, which sometimes come up?
No, absolutely not.
Okay.
We are, oh my goodness, we are light years ahead. Yeah.
You say zero tax increases. That's really hard to do when you employ a whole lot of people and they kind of expect to get paid more, because that's kind of the way the world works. How do we work around that?
Great question, but I will have to take a look at the numbers. My position on that is strictly from the research that I've done. And it's really a side note of the research. It's not like I focus the research on, hey, let's see if I can research 0% tax increases, right? So there is a possibility for that, but it would be just way too boring for me to go into the details right now.
You also mentioned something about increasing development charges, which I find is really interesting.
I mean decreasing, not increasing. We should say 10% decrease, because they're connected. The whole sort of forward planning of infrastructure, which we now have to do, we're in sort of a new age, whether we like it or not, because we have an unprecedented amount of infrastructure everywhere in the world built that we've never had before. I know some folks like to say history repeats itself, blah, 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 but I don't believe that we've had that much infrastructure ever. So really the whole planning of infrastructure is just going to be slightly offset in a forward direction. So if we were to use an analogy from history, I would say probably what the train did, except imagine like 100 trains in 2 years happening. Yeah.
What's your background, Milos? Where yeah, like what have you done? Those kinds of things.
Professional background?
Yeah, sure.
Yes. So I've done pretty much anything. There's maybe about 16 core positions that go from work literally mixing the concrete by my hands up to the just below the Treasury Board of Ontario under the Provincial Highways Management Division. So the system is perfect. We're just I think now we have an opportunity to have it exponentially grow. That's all. So it's definitely I'm not a critique of the system. I'm just looking, hey, I think it's time for us to scale back some of the paperwork, right? So obviously it has to be analyzed, everybody has to agree, and so on. There isn't going to be any shortcuts taken here.
A lot of talk in Kitchener about homelessness and the encampments. There, of course, one that we were in Victoria, also in Victoria Park. Where are you on that? What do you have a solution? Do you have a plan? Do you have an idea?
Well, I can say that about if I analyze 100 of my emails that have come in, and this is, I didn't do the analysis, just off the top of my head, minimum 50% are about that. So I would say, at this point, without talking to anybody, pretty much, so I still have to talk to everybody, I would say, why not go to a conceptual public tender where I think only like the local community should participate, and give us a one-pager of what you think we should do, be polite, and so on and so on and so on.
If you get the mayor's chair, you also get a seat on regional council. They're talking about a possible tax increase of 11%. I'm guessing since you don't want to see property taxes go up by any more than 0%, you would not be a big fan of an 11% tax increase.
Well, I definitely like to talk with everybody in the regional council, and then see what's the question going to be, right? Because typically the voting is on a specific question. So I really have no prejudice either way. I haven't looked at the numbers. Right?
So you're kind of on a journey of discovery before you actually get to the mayor's office.
Yes, and I think last 2-4 years, decades, whatever scale you want to look at, we've been through a lot, and so I don't think we've oversold the promises. That's all. Everybody. Nobody is excluded from that, from the civilizational vertical. So I don't want to go into any promises.
So, well, and on that note, you brought up promises. I guess I'd like to ask, what would be the first thing that Mayor Milos would do if he were to take over on December the 1st?
Well, rebrand. The end. Just a very quiet rebrand. It's not. We have a lot of work to do. So, but definitely. Definitely pump up the music in the bars. Yeah.
Rebrand how, Milos? Like, give me a couple of examples.
Well, I think you want to expand minimum amount of resources. So even if we put it to a vote, then let's just change the name. That's it. That's as far as the rebranding has to go, right?
So I have a question when anybody decides that they want to run for the top job to start with, because that is kind of outside the norm. So why start at the top, Milos? Why not start at maybe the councillor level? Great question, and I don't have an answer. I can tell you why I ran. I did run to absolutely raise awareness about the global atmosphere, right? Because we are a global community, but a lot of, well, as one professional would put it, and I concede that she's completely right, sometimes the things in the universe all just line up. So that's really, I guess, the answer, which tells us nothing. But I've worked inside on improving the system itself, upon which then decision makers pretty much have to make decisions upon. So I thought, maybe let me try to take a quick look from the top, right? I'm not interested in a second term. Should I be saying that? I don't know. I've always wondered about that. Should a politician say, if you elect me, I'll leave after 4 years?
Like, anyways, why am I even talking about the second term? Yeah. Thank you for the question.
So here, you're meeting me at the door for the first time, Milos. Give me your best 30 seconds on why I should vote for you.
It's Renaissance 2.0. If you don't get it, that means I guess you're not on the internet. I don't know.
Milos, thank you. I truly do appreciate anybody who puts their name forward to run, and I appreciate you taking the time. And for everybody else, remember, voting day is October the 24th.